With recent years, games are getting better in almost every aspect. No, I'm not talking about you, Ubisoft. Anyways, the competition for Game of the Year is setting new standards. But here's the problem. We've got too many options these days, and gamers just want to play the top-notch stuff. Only Game of the Year winners or their nominees. And honestly, that's actually good. So we support this terrible habit, so we have decided to make this video. We highly encourage you to play only Game of the Year titles. Don't even touch anything else. Ew. Just kidding. Well, gaming evolves, but some games age like fine wine. And others?
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Not so much. Each year, there's always that one game that completely blows our minds and it wins Game of the Year, or sometime it doesn't. Usually the bigger titles just grab it anyway. But hey, here we are, stirring up a nice little controversy among gamers, so you can all fight out in the comment section. You know, for the good of our videos reach and all that. But seriously, I'm writing this script to share my thoughts on the Game of the Year winners since 2014. Were they truly deserving, or should another game have snagged the award? Let's dive in and find out. 2014 was the official year for Game Award establishment, hosted by game journalist Geoff Keighley, who worked on its predecessor, the Spike Video Game Awards, for over 10 years. In 2014, we had 5 nominees: Bayonetta 2, Dark Souls 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, Hearthstone, and Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. And Dragon Age walked away with the award. Now, I had no problem with the Game of the Year choice, but the nominees? I'll get to that in a bit. Dragon Age Inquisition, one of the craziest games released by BioWare. Personally, it's my least favorite of the trilogy. Why? I just didn't vibe with its contrast. And the ending, oh boy, don't get me started on the ending. But overall, Inquisition deserved the Game of the Year title. Though to be honest, the competition wasn't exactly fierce this year. Let's take a look at the nominees. From Software gave us Dark Souls 2, their worst entry in the series. Yeah, I said it. Shadow of Mordor, a fine game, sure, but nowhere near masterpiece territory. Bayonetta 2, pretty decent but nothing mind-blowing in my opinion. Hearthstone and Dark Souls 2 were the only real contenders I could see putting up a fight here. But the nominees, well, I think Far Cry 4 and Divinity Original Sin deserved a spot in here. Where were they, huh? Nominating community must have been on a coffee break that day. Now we are in 2015. This year, the OpenCritic score was higher than the last year by 2 numbers. This year we had a solid lineup: Bloodborne, Fallout 4, Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain, Super Mario Maker, and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And of course, The Witcher 3 snagged the Game of the Year award. Although this year's competition was tough, I'll get to that in a second. But did The Witcher 3 deserve it? Hell yeah! Bloodborne was the only game that could have even come close to take the crown if it wasn't for Witcher 3. The craftsmanship behind Witcher 3 was insane. CD Projekt Red was pushing themselves to the limit. They didn't really have anything major up their sleeve at the point, except for Cyberpunk. But Witcher 3 was their biggest project yet, and this Polish company absolutely crushed it. They showcased the world what a truly passionate team can create. But let's not forget, the launch of Witcher 3 wasn't exactly smooth. In fact, it was no better than Cyberpunk. It was buggy, laggy, and optimized like a potato.
Looks like rain.
But hey, it redeemed itself in time, and they got what they deserved. The only sad part, Bloodborne and Arkham Knight. Bloodborne was the next best game, or even better than Witcher 3 in some areas, but yeah, it gave the toughest competition, and Arkham Knight didn't even make it to the nominees. I personally haven't played Super Mario Maker, but I think Arkham Knight should have taken its place. Next we have 2016, a year that was good for gaming. The nominees were Doom, Inside, Overwatch, Titanfall and Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Alright, I've got a problem here. No doubt Overwatch was a solid competitive and addictive game. It really set the bar for competitive gaming and showed everyone that CS wasn't the only game that could dominate this scene. But seriously guys, Uncharted 4 was just sitting there, waiting to claim the trophy. I didn't play Overwatch as much as I should probably have, but you guys have to tell me, was it really fair? Drop it in the comments because I'm seriously questioning this. And let's not forget the other contenders. Doom, a glorious remake of the original series that gave us all the chaotic demon-slaying vibes. Titanfall 2, the foundation of today's Apex Legends and an absolutely gem of a story game. Seriously, it was criminally underrated. And then there's Inside, not a AAA game, but man, it made a huge impact. But guys, I know what you're really waiting for. Where the hell is Dark Souls 3 and Dishonored 2? Where are they? They didn't even make it into the nominees. Like what? Was there some kind of blackout during the selection process? I still see Dark Souls 3 as a masterpiece, and it's a game that ages like wine. And I remember how good was Dishonored 2. The choices you can make in the gameplay is crazy. And I have a lot of things to talk about. But now. Let's move on to 2017. A bit of a wild year. Here's what we had: Persona 5, Horizon Zero Dawn, Super Mario Odyssey, PlayerUnknown's Battleground, and Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. Now this year was kinda weird because some AAA title went hard on realism, but where were Shadow of War, Assassin's Creed Origins, Injustice 2, Hellblade, and Uncharted: The Lost Legacy? Seriously, these games didn't even make it to the nominees. I mean, come on, I think PUBG and Persona 5 should have been swapped out for Uncharted and Origins. As for the game of the year, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, no complaints there. It was a perfect example of how a game should be. I don't even know how to sum it up in a few minutes. Breath of the Wild was, well, actually wild. The world, the silence, and the sheer atmosphere. I still remember wandering through taverns and vast, empty landscapes that somehow made me feel like there was always something more to explore. That game made nothingness feel like an adventure. Crazy experience, man. Next we had 2018, a bit of down year for me personally when it comes to gaming, dude. I've got a lot to say. We had Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celestia, God of War, Marvel's Spider-Man, Monster Hunter Wild, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Now this year everyone thought Red Dead Redemption 2 was going to ride off into the sunset with the award, but nope. God of War swooped in and snatched it right out of RDR2 saddlebags. The competition was tough. Even I'm still not sure which game deserved it more. God of War is my personal favorite, but RDR2? Man, that game blew my mind. The story, the ending, the gameplay, the graphics, oh my god. There's still so much to talk about to this day. But God of War, it's right up there too. The story, the reinvention of Kratos, this guy goes from a rage monster to a dad of the year, and gamers loved it. I still remember the first time I saw the World Serpent. My god, I was completely mesmerized. Now what about the other games? Assassin's Creed Odyssey definitely deserved a nominee spot, no doubt about it. Spider-Man swinging through New York has never been so satisfying. But Monster Hunter World? I think it could have been swept out for a Way Out or Hitman 2. Oh, and Forza Horizon 4 was out there too. So yeah, a lot of great games were left hanging this year. Tough choices all around. Now we're in 2019, a year everyone had their eyes on. From Software was about to drop another title, but with a completely different style. This year's nominees were Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Sekiro: Shadow Die Twice, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and The Outer Worlds. And the game of the year goes to, of course, Sekiro. I still remember how much I loved this game. It's been a while since a game had me so hooked, so intensely that I basically dropped everything else in my life. It was fun, frustrating, and honestly a wild ride. But if Sekiro hadn't won, I think Control would have been next in line. Seriously, Control was on another level. Remedy Games came in and blew our minds again. Like, what even was that game? Pure madness in the best way possible. Now, Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima, I love you man, but the gameplay just didn't deliver. It was beautiful piece of art that had me delivering packages, but what really disappointed me, the fact that some amazing games didn't even make it to the nominees. I'm talking about Metro Exodus, A Plague Tale Innocence, Resident Evil 2 Remake and Devil May Cry 5. Sure, they won plenty of awards, but still, no love in the Game of the Year race. What gives? Oh, it's 2020 already. Dude, time flies, right? This year was going to be one of the best years for gaming. Just listen to these nominees. Animal Crossing New Horizons, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us Part 2. And these are just nominees. We also had Cyberpunk, Resident Evil 3, Ori, Neo 2, Dirt 5, Valorant, Genshin Impact, Yakuza, Warzone, Flight Simulator. I mean, developers just went off this year. But the game of the year goes to Last of Us Part 2. Dude, this game was freaking awesome. I don't even know how to explain it. On OpenCritic, it won 7 different awards. Yeah, you heard that right, 7. That's the highest number of awards won by any game ever. Now, about Cyberpunk. Yeah, I know the release was a bit of a train wreck, but the game itself, amazing. Didn't make it to the nominees though. Don't worry, CD Projekt Red will catch up with Witcher 4. And then there's Ghost of Tsushima. I still remember how people started learning Japanese history through this game. Like Jin Sakai saved Japan from the Mongols. And Final Fantasy VII Remake. I could talk about this game all day, but just know it was epic. Honestly, 2020 was wild, and I do think The Last of Us 2 deserved the win, but man, Ghost of Tsushima was right there. One like might do justice to Jin's cute face, and Cyberpunk definitely should have been on that nominee list. Yes. Alright, 2021 now. Another stack of nominees. Deathloop, It Takes Two, Meteoroid Dread, Psychonauts 2, Ratchet and Clank, Rift Apart, Resident Evil Village. No surprise, It Takes Two took home the Game of the Year award. Seriously, it was like the therapy session none of us asked for but apparently needed. But let me be real for a second. Half of these games I'd never even heard of. Psychonauts 2, Meteoroid Dread. Am I in the wrong timeline or something? This year was honestly kind of hilarious. We got Far Cry 6, which, let's be real, was another Far Cry game. I mean, how many dictators do I have to overthrow before I get a break? But some games were actually good, like 12 minutes. A game where you're stuck in a time loop longer than it takes me to decide what to eat for dinner. And Kena Bridge of Spirits, which was beautiful and full of heart. Honestly, Kena should have made it to this list too. 2021 felt like a fever dream in the gaming world. So many wild titles, some are great, some, let's just say, questionable. But hey, at least It Takes Two reminded us all that fixing a relationship takes way more effort than a quick respawn. 2022. Another absolutely wild year for gaming. The competition this time, brutal. It was like all sharks showed up with their best games, ready to take the fight to the death. I'm talking about Elden Ring and God of War Ragnarok, the kind of showdown that makes even the most hardcore gamers sweat. So Elden Ring took home the Game of the Year award, beating out Ragnarok. And yeah, this was one tough competition, but honestly, just experiencing Elden Ring made it clear. This was the Game of the Year. I mean, the moment I died for the 50th time to some random boss, I knew I was hooked. Other games like Plague Tale Requiem made their way into the nominees, and I was so happy for it. I love when a beautiful, dark, rat-infested, emotional roller coaster gets its due. And then we had the adorable cat game Stray sneaking into the nominees like, hey, I'm here too. Meanwhile, Horizon Forbidden West bought the sequel power and stacked its claim. But you know what? I still think Gran Turismo 7 could have driven away with the Game of the Year trophy. I mean, who doesn't love a good racing game, right? Nothing says Game of the Year like perfectly timed pit spots and gear shifts. Okay, maybe I'm alone on that one.
Down, down, down by the river.
And now we finally have 2023, the latest game of the year announced till today date when I'm making this video. And yeah, before we go further, let's make this video evergreen. If you're watching this video at the end of 2024 or 2025 or 2040 etc., then comment down the correct year of the game of the year game. So this way the information will keep updating over time. So 2023, what a year for gaming. Here's the lineup: Alan Wake 2, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Marvel Spider-Man 2, Resident Evil 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and my favorite, Baldur's Gate 3. Talk about a tough call for the game of the year. But of course, Baldur's Gate 3 didn't just win, it straight up cleaned house, taking home a whopping 6 awards. That's the second most, right after The Last of Us Part 2. Seriously, this game was destined for greatness, no doubt about it. But if it wasn't Baldur's Gate 3, then it had to be Alan Wake 2. Remedy Games delivered another masterpiece. I mean, come on, the horror, the combat, the graphics, chef's kiss. It's like every single detail was handcrafted from nightmares and high definition pixels. And let's not forget about the other games. Spider-Man 2 swung right into his well-deserved spot. Resident Evil 4 Remake brought back the survival horror feels like it was 2005 all over again. Now some good games didn't make it to the spotlight as much as they deserved. I'm looking at you, Lies of P and Hogwarts Legacy, and then there's Forspoken. No, I'm just kidding. Let's be honest, that was a miss. Oh, and remember Bayonetta Origins? Yeah, no one else does it either. Poor thing got lost in the shuffle. But overall, 2023 was a monster year, packed with bangers and a few wait what moments. That's it for this year, and overall this was it. From 2014 to 2023, we have journeyed through the highs and lows of gaming's biggest moments. We have laughed, we have cried, and we have probably questioned our life choices after spending too many hours in front of a screen. Whether you're out there slaying dragons in Elden Ring, solving mysteries in Alan Wake 2, or just trying to figure out how to make a perfect cup of coffee in Baldur's Gate 3, remember this: the most important thing is to have fun and enjoy the chaos that gaming brings to our lives. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think? Did your favorite games make the cut? Did I miss any hidden gems that deserved some love? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let the keyboard battles commence. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride through the gaming years, and subscribe for more content that's as engaging as at the last minute save in Dark Souls. Until next time, keep gaming, keep exploring, and may Jin Sakai find his true love.